Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of carbohydrates. This is an absolutely foundational topic in biochemistry, especially for your MBBS journey, so let's get right to it. All right, let's start with this quote from a textbook I'm sure you know well. It's kind of poetic, but it perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to cover. It tells us what they are, how they're grouped, what holds them together, and what they do. It's basically our roadmap for today. So you might hear the name hydrates of carbon, and that's a helpful hint for sure. But the crucial point, the thing you really need to remember, is their chemical definition. They are polyhydroxyaldehydes or ketones. Get that locked in your brain because that specific structure is the key to absolutely everything they do in the body. Okay, so where do we start? We'll begin with the simplest units, the fundamental building blocks of all carbohydrates. We have to understand the bricks before we can understand the building, right?
Let's really understand this step by step. Monosaccharides are our basic units. You can think of them just like individual Lego bricks. They're the simplest sugars you can get, and you literally can't break them down any further. This is our starting point.
Now, what's really interesting is how we can classify these simple bricks. We can split them into two main families, and it's all based on their functional group. You've got aldoses, which contain an aldehyde group. Glucose is the classic example. And then you have ketoses, which have a keto group. Think fructose. It's a really fundamental distinction. We also classify them by the number of carbons they contain, which gives them their general name. A 3-carbon sugar is a triose, 5 is a pentose, and the one you'll see all the time, 6 carbons, is a hexose. So we can put these two classifications together. Glucose isn't just an aldose, it's an aldohexose, and fructose is a ketohexose. See how that works? Now pause for a moment and think about this, because it's a huge deal in biochemistry. It's not just about the chemical formula. Their 3D shape is incredibly important for their function. Their arrangement in space completely changes how they work. And this just brilliantly illustrates how complex that structure can get. Take glucose, for example. It has 4 of these special asymmetric carbon atoms. And because of that, there are, get this, 16 possible stereoisomers. That's 2 to the power of 4. 16 different 3D configurations from the exact same atoms. So the D and L forms are just mirror images of each other. But what's really fascinating is that our bodies, our enzymes, are so specific that they're built to primarily use the D isomers. It's an amazing example of how biology is built on precise shapes. Now, this is a key concept, so pay attention. An epimer is a monosaccharide that differs in its configuration around just one specific carbon atom, a tiny change. For instance, glucose and galactose are C4 epimers. That subtle difference at just one carbon creates a completely different sugar with huge clinical implications. Okay, so we've got our building blocks down. Let's move on to our next section and see how this all builds up. What happens when we start linking these simple bricks together? Two simple sugars join together by forming a special link called a glycosidic bond. It's a pretty elegant process. 2 hydroxyl groups line up, a molecule of water gets kicked out in a dehydration reaction, and boom, you've got an oxygen bridge holding them together. And this process creates disaccharides. Here are the 3 you're going to encounter constantly, both in your studies and, in your diet. You've got maltose, which is just glucose plus glucose. Then there's lactose, found in milk, which is galactose plus glucose. And finally, sucrose, just regular table sugar, made from glucose and fructose. So here's a crucial point about sucrose. Its structure makes it chemically different from maltose and lactose. In sucrose, the really reactive parts of both sugar units, the anomeric carbons, are locked up in that glycosidic bond. This means it's what we call a non-reducing sugar. All right, we've linked a few bricks together. Now let's see what happens when we start linking thousands of them into these giant, complex structures. Polysaccharides are these massive polymers, sometimes called glycans, and they play these huge roles in our bodies, from storing energy for later to actually building physical structures. They can be straight chains, or they can be super branched out. So in plants, energy gets stored as starch, which actually comes in 2 forms. The first one is amylose. It's a simple, long, unbranched chain of glucose, all held together with those alpha 1 to 4 linkages. The second form is a amylopectin. This is a bit more complex. It's mostly the same straight chain, but it also has branches. These branches, created by alpha 1 to 6 linkages, allow the plant to store a lot more energy in a much more compact way.
Now, our bodies use a molecule called glycogen. Think of it like a super branched version of amylopectin. So why all the branches? Well, all those branch ends give us tons of places to quickly access the stored glucose. It's perfect for quick energy release in our liver and muscles when we need it most.
Okay, so we've gone through all this molecular detail, but why does it matter to you as a future doctor? Well, let's connect all of this to the clinic. This is the so what part.
Understanding carbohydrate structure is absolutely essential for diagnosing and managing conditions. For example, if there's too much glucose or galactose in the body, they can get converted into sorbitol and dulcitol. These molecules get trapped in cells, cause osmotic damage, and can lead to cataracts and neuropathy. Or take inulin, a polymer of fructose. We use it to measure kidney function. Then there's heparin, a complex polysaccharide that's a vital anticoagulant, and even cellulose, which we can't digest, is super important as fiber for our gut health.
All right, let's do a quick quiz to test your recall. First question. Glucose and galactose are C4 epimers. What does this mean exactly? What is the precise structural difference between them?
And for our final question, think about the bond that holds sucrose together. Why is sucrose considered a non-reducing sugar, while something like lactose is not? What makes it so unique?
You have done brilliantly to get through these core concepts. Seriously, great job. Keep this foundational knowledge strong as you move forward. You're building your expertise one molecule at a time.